Why does it seem like so many parents shy away from bringing spirituality, faith, prayer to their children?
Louis, I've spoken with many parents, and the story I hear most often is, I'm just not sure what I believe. I don't want to tell them the wrong thing. A caring parent says, I don't want to do this wrong. We'll let them choose when they're older. Now, as well intentioned as that may be, science says waiting is to foreclose.
Mm,
Do not wait. Do not wait. The child is primed to grow spiritually through the relationship with the parent. We don't need to be great experts
hmm
to show up to the spiritual life of the child. I don't need to know a thing
mm,
about any religion or any great theology to listen to the spiritual voice of my child and let them know it's real.
mm,
That's all we need to do.
yeah.
So many children will have a mystical experience. They'll say, I saw grandma, even though grandma's in heaven. Grandma came to see me.
Wow.
We don't need to be an expert. We can honor that great gift. Wow, grandma must really love you.
That's cool.
What does that say to the child? Mystical experiences are real.
Hmm
You can trust yourself as a knower. You are authorized as a spiritual knower. Our relationship is sanctified. It goes to that depth.
hmm
And in fact, you, in your whole life, are on a spiritual path.
If someone grows up in a family that has prayer, spirituality, potentially church, but then they see their parents do something that goes against it,
Mhm.
the one teaching or leading them kind of breaks against what they've been teaching, or there's a divorce, or there's an affair, or there's physical abuse, or there was screaming, or they didn't feel safe as a child growing up, but they were trying to incorporate spirituality, prayer, lessons, church, or maybe they experienced something poor with the religious leader of the church that they witnessed that there wasn't a good thing or something. Does that hurt more the child when
Mhm.
they see an adult
Mhm.
leading through spirituality, but making not minor mistakes, but big mistakes? How does that affect the brain of a child
Right.
throughout their life?
The child is watching us exquisitely, so very closely. Do we walk the walk
Uh huh.
that we talk? Right. So, as a parent, as a clergy person, as a teacher, a coach, we are torchbearers. We don't make the fire is divine. We
Mm,
carry it. Every significant adult is a spiritual torchbearer to a child. The child's looking very closely. Are you walking in step with your teachings? Now, when we are a little bit foibled, we can apologize and pray and fix it. That's being human. And it teaches the child a spiritual response to the human struggle.
yes.
If we are more egregiously foibled or harmful, the child has a tendency to look at the torchbearer and say, you're a hypocrite.
Mm-hmm.
You're phony. The flame is false. That
Eesh.
is called spiritual injury. When the
Eesh.
ambassador, the torchbearer, does not walk the walk.
Okay.
Spiritual injury is excruciating.
Yes.
It is profoundly painful. What does it sound like? I don't know if God is real. Everything you ever told me, mom, dad, pastor, priest, imam, coach,
It's
teacher,
a lie.
if you're phony,
Yeah.
then the flame is phony.
And God is phony, or this is phony, or I don't believe any of it. Yeah.
That's spiritual injury. Spiritual injury is very painful because the child is left in a very chilly, cold, damp place
You feel
of
alone.
existential
Yeah.
emptiness.
Yeah.
And yet, Lewis, the good news is spiritual injury can be healed.
Mm,
There's a way back from spiritual injury. The child can meet a good torchbearer who does walk the walk.
hmm
And again, that could be a coach, a parent or grandparent. It could be a pastor, priest, imam, rabbi, a youth leader. And by watching closely a good torchbearer, they see another way of relating to the flame. The second way that spiritual injury can be healed is to bring God's presence into that very memory together,
hmm
right? And ask God for guidance through that memory, through that moment. That's called post traumatic spiritual growth.
mm
Suddenly I felt God would forgive us. Then I knew I was not to blame. The wiser truth that speaks to the inner heart, post-traumatic spiritual growth. And then the third way is to invite the child into a direct connection, their own direct connection to God. The visualization we shared at the
Mm-hmm.
council table, I have done with homeless children who were abused and thrown out of the
Wow.
house. Every homeless child sleeping under the Brooklyn Bridge was able, through the council practice, to go back to God.
Wow.
No one had an empty table. There was always someone there, a grandmother,
Mm.
an uncle, a coach. They could see God. For some, it was Jesus or Mary. For some, it was a great white light. No matter what we've been through, we are built to receive God's presence in our brain.
Mm-hmm.
There was one time where a fellow said, no one showed up in the first chair. Those who truly have my best interest in mind. So he waited with his eyes closed. And they said, oh, there she is. I know her. We said, who is she? He said, it's my future wife.
Wow. That's crazy.
Because our awakened awareness has information that has yet to unfold before us.
It's so interesting you say that because probably I have to find this because it was probably the first or second year of the podcast, 10, 11 years ago, where I did a meditation with a friend of mine who's a coach. His name's Chris Lee, where he had me visualize my future wife. And it was at a time where I was single and I dated two other people actually after that were not my wife. But the person that I envisioned 10, 11, 12 years ago, whenever this was, is Martha, my current wife. Now, I just had to go through some other lessons to get there, but it was like I called her from the future. And it was really more like I needed to continue to become a certain way of being in order to be in alignment with her and her in alignment with me. So I was still going through my process. But doing this practice, I was hopeful that I was coming in like 6 months, but it took a decade. But if I look back on that, having that moment, that exercise, that meditation, that prayer of visualizing it and having a spiritual day, he made me walk through what does this day look like with this person and who is this person? Like really visualizing it. I felt like it implanted in my spiritual personality. It was like, okay, this is who I need to become eventually. I just wasn't ready to be that person yet.
But such loving, sacred guidance
Yes,
is available to
it
us.
is.
You chose to raise the antenna
Yes,
and receive
yes,
loving, sacred guidance.
100%.
And then you knew her when you saw her.
Yes, I was kind of frustrated because I didn't want to. I was like, oh shoot, right away. I was like, dang it, this is different. I knew it, but I was like, oh, my ego wants to not have this be ready yet. But I was like, I feel like God was protecting me. God put her in my life to protect me, literally, from my ego.
Wow.
And and so part of me was like resistant for a moment, but I was like, I just need to surrender. I was like, this is what God wants for me. And it's been a beautiful journey. So
The surrender.
the surrender.
What God are you showing me now? What God do you
Yes.
ask of me now? See, that's the
Yes.
dialogue.
Yes.
That is how the awakened brain is built,
Mm-hmm.
to be an open system in dialogue with God.
Yes.
So this is not send out and you get what you ordered. This is listening.
And it was so undeniable because, and I think a lot of people say that when they get in a relationship, oh, we have so many things in common, but there was I would ask God this, maybe not daily, but consistently throughout the first 3 months of getting to know Martha. And I was just like, show me a sign, a synchronicity that is so undeniable that I wouldn't believe it, that we're meant to continue this journey. I don't know if we're going to be together forever or if we're going to get married, but just that I need to continue down this dating journey with her. And it was just like stuff that I couldn't even believe was happening, the synchronicities. And they were there from the very first moment.
The God lay on your path.
It was like God was like screaming at me with such clarity. And it was like, if this is not a sign from me that you can't see, and I'm, stubborn, so I needed a lot of them, but it was like months. And God just kept showing me these beautiful, like mystical synchronicities. I was
Oh,
just like, this is
wow. Do you
unbelievable.
remember one?
The first one was very clear within the first 5 minutes of meeting her, probably 2 minutes of meeting her. I picked her up to go to dinner. I was in Mexico and she was in Mexico. We met up and I got my buddy's Jeep. I didn't have a car, so I just took his Jeep and I put my phone when I picked her up. We said hi, opened the door. She got in the car, and my phone was sitting in the middle console, like the middle area of the Jeep. And then I came around and got in there, and right away, like the screensaver was on and the light was on. It was at night. And so you could see kind of my phone screensaver, and it was a photo of a young boy. And she looked down at it and kind of looked at me. I go, "Oh, don't worry, I don't have a kid." It looked like like my son. I go, "Ah, don't worry, I don't have a kid." She goes, "I know what that is. You're healing the inner child." And I was just like, "Oh, geez." And she goes, "Look at my phone." And she had a photo of herself. I get chills thinking about it. She had a photo of herself. She was like, "I've been on this journey for a while. It's a beautiful journey, isn't it?" And I was just like, "Holy cow!" I get chills thinking about it. Because then just right away, the relationship is about depth,
Yeah.
curiosity. It's not about trying to prove or achieve.
Yeah.
It's not about like, oh, I'm trying to take this girl out to win her over or, look good. It was more like, let's just connect and connect on a spiritual level. And that was a beautiful sign I felt from God. I was like, okay, I don't have to explain myself. She understands it. And there was just so many things like that almost every week that were just mind blowing. So, but I needed to, my antenna needed to be cleaned and clear and elevated in order for me to receive these signs and not be scared of them. Because I think I would have been scared of them years before.
They're for you.
Yes,
Synchronicities are for
they
you.
are.
Even if some of them are unpleasant.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, those are beautiful
Yes.
synchronicities, but
Some might be big red flag synchronicities like,
yes,
oh, you shouldn't go down this path.
like a dead bird on my doorstep,
Oh,
right?
man. Yeah.
I
Something
mean,
like that.
and so thank you, God, for the guidance. Even if it's not what I want to hear, I'm being loved and held. I'm being
Yes.
guided. I am not alone.
Yes.
We don't need to get our way. See, that's
Yeah.
narrow, relentless achieving awareness.
Mhm.
If I'd gotten everything I wanted, it would not be my first choice life. I am so much more excited by the dialogue with God,
Yes.
by the awakened path that's led me to the life I lead. It's an inspired life.
It is an inspired life.
And you don't know where it's going.
You don't know where it's going. You have
Oh,
to
so
trust.
now
Go
you
ahead.
have the girls.
Yes.
Now you have the girls.
Twin girls, which I told her when we first met, maybe within like 6 months, she was like, "Do you see yourself having kids?" And I go, "Yes, twin girls."
Wow.
I swear to you. I swear to
Wow.
you. And she goes, "Wow, really?" And she had like twins in her family, like extended family and triplets in her family. And I was like, "Yeah, I see us having twin girls." I don't know why I said that, but I was just like, and I was also uncertain. I wasn't like 100% like I want to just be a dad and have kids like earlier in my life. I was afraid of being with the wrong person, having kids and feeling trapped. That was with a fear. So I wasn't excited about married family life if it meant feeling like a prisoner or caged or I couldn't be myself or, whatever, going through a divorce like I experienced growing up with my parents. And so it was more of like, I just didn't feel emotionally safe to think that way. But then when I was with her, I was like, oh, I feel safe. I feel emotionally, spiritually safe. There really is, the question was, once I got to a point where I said, okay, if I ever died, if something ever happened to me, do I feel emotionally and spiritually safe that this person could raise my kids?
Yeah.
That they'd be able to figure it out, and be resourceful enough. And that's what I felt with Martha, where I'd never felt that before. So for me, it was like, okay, I felt that safety.
In my path, I think if all of the achieving goals were gone, would there be a four-legged table holding up an awakened life? If tomorrow the achieving goals were gone, would there be a depth of soul connection, an awakened relationship? And Lewis, you're a huge success.
Mhm.
But if you weren't, she'd love you just as much.
I think she would. Yeah.
Well,
Well, something she would tell me all the time is
that's real.
yeah, she was like, I'll follow you anywhere. She would say that all the time. She still says that.
Wow.
And, when she met me, I was in a nice apartment, but it was a 2-bedroom apartment. I don't have a lot of stuff. It's not like I didn't need a big house or anything. I've been in a 2-bedroom apartment my whole life, essentially, adult life. And, yeah, she's just like, I'll follow you anywhere. If we need to be in a 1-bedroom apartment, if we need to be in a big home, if we have to move, wherever it is, I'll follow you anywhere.
From that first date,
Yeah.
you shared a depth.
Yes.
You shared an awakened relationship.
Yes.
Right out of the blocks.
Exactly. Right away.
Well, then you're never trapped.
I don't feel trapped.
Because there's no transaction.
No, I feel free.
You're free.
I feel accepted. And it makes me want to work hard to be able to provide a life that feels safe, that feels abundant, that feels joyful, playful, all these different things, adventurous. But yeah, it feels good.
Bedrock unconditional love. It's an awakened partnership.
Yeah, it feels great.
I think of marriage less as a contract, more as a calling.
Mm-hmm. I think I do as well, because my whole vision for the relationship is, how do we serve people at the highest level together? And that might be our children, that might be our community, our families, whatever it may be. But how do we come together to serve one another and our family to then serve others?
How has being a father changed you?
I feel like once they start talking, maybe I'll start to feel something even different. But it's changed me in the fact that, to wake up and look at like 2 little beautiful souls is such a cool thing. First off, for me, it's a cool thing. It's really gotten me even more in check with my integrity with myself, my thoughts, actions, just even stronger integrity with self, because I'm like, gosh, I can't be a hypocrite with these girls. Even the littlest things they're going to find out. It's like we observed our parents, right? We observed them. And I'm just like, I know I'm not going to be perfect. I know I'm going to make mistakes, but how can I be present and connected and responsible to lead them to what they're meant to be here for? So for me, I just feel like it's calling me to be an even better version of myself.
Has it deepened your spirituality?
100%. Yeah. 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 Because I have to have trust in God that they're going to wake up. Otherwise, you're anxious all night. It's like you're just thinking, are they breathing? Are they going to be okay? Are they going to wake up? Like, you have to trust God that they will wake up, that they're going to be protected. It's like, it could be extremely emotionally debilitating, I think, if I didn't have trust that they're going to be okay.
When we as parents, science says it's beautiful series of findings. Science shows us that when we as parents speak out loud about our spiritual truth, that is the most powerful form of shaping the child's own spiritual awareness.
Mm-hmm.
The child's born with the capacity to perceive the spiritual reality. Yeah. Every child has implicit spiritual cognition, which means unless socialized out of it, the young child will perceive continuity of spirit or consciousness after death.
Wow.
Unless socialized out of it, the young child will perceive that we can have direct knowing, inspiration, intuition without being told. It is only because they hear from adults, oh no, that's not real, that they come to lower and cover the antenna.
Yeah.
So we don't really teach spirituality. We nurture what's already in the child.
Yeah.
How do we nurture what's in our children? By living and breathing our own spiritual life. Out loud, full blast, in the car, on the playing field, and in the house of worship.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy this and you want more inspirational content, make sure to click the subscribe button below and click right here to watch what's coming next.